And there's another holiday, but I can't quite remember what it is. It's happening tomorrow. It's on the 31st. What's happening tomorrow? Halloween! Right! Or All Hallows Eve is what we like to call it. So last night they had a great party here, lots of fun. You can still see some of the decorations around. And it's today we have an offering table. It's got candy. Tomorrow there'll be even more candy, right? So anyway, in our Unificationist tradition, focusing on our holy days, there's 4 major holy days that are unique to us as Unificationists. Of course, we celebrate the our Christian tradition and other holy days, but especially in our Unificationist tradition, centered on the fulfillment of God's ideal, true parents established these 4 holy days. True God's Day, True Parents' Day, True Children's Day, and Day of All True Things. They correspond to the 3 great blessings, the 3 great purposes that we have in life. Right? The first purpose as children is to grow and to come to know God. So True Children and True God's Day. And then on that foundation to become parents. Right? So we celebrate True Parents' Day. And as true sons and daughters of God and true families, our relationship with all things of creation is meant to be one of love. So we celebrate all of these holy days for the purpose of reclaiming for God God's original ideal. And I think it's quite wonderful and significant the way that True Father worked to break through these historical challenges and difficulties that we've seen in God's providence. So, True Children's Day. Here's some of the key points, is as Dr. Balcom mentioned, it's the day that God and true parents had their own true children. From the beginning with Adam and Eve, God lost God's children. And so it's an amazing thing to think that we live in the time when God was finally able to claim true children in this world. This is what we celebrate on True Children's Day. Also the fact that now, because of the blessing of marriage, all people have the potential to become engrafted as true children, to receive the change of blood lineage. And a fallen person, when we participate like this, can comfort the heart of God by practicing a life of true love and becoming God's true sons and daughters. So in thinking about the holy days, a lot of times for me, like, oh, I heard in the announcements that there's a holy day coming up. It's easy to forget, especially when we're on the lunar calendar, so it's not the same day every year. According to the solar calendar, it's a different time every year. So I looked up and was just thinking, these are such significant dates in terms of the history of God's providence. These celebrations, we're celebrating them not just for ourselves so we can have a party, but actually we are celebrating them to comfort God's heart. So in thinking about the preparation for a holy day, we need to prepare our hearts and minds, in reflecting on the deep significance and value that these holy days mean in the whole course of human history. We celebrate this founding of the United States, and we found, this founding of our country, or great historical days. But from God's point of view, what are the most important and most precious holy days for God? These are the ones where true parents broke through and established the foundation for God's heavenly kingdom. So if we prepare our hearts, Father often tells us we should develop a longing for holy days. We should look forward to, oh man, I can't wait till the next holy day because I want to celebrate for God and for true parents. Also, especially as parents, we want to pass on a tradition of acknowledging and appreciating the value of this whole providence, the conditions that were made that we could now claim God's Day, Parents' Day, Children's Day, Day of All Things. So establishing a tradition in our family through our habits and our practices, even just the simple small offering tables, and doing something special on the day, so that all the family knows that this is a tradition that we want our children to pass on in their families as well. So we have to set the example. And also that it's a day where we offer God our heart of attendance, where we're really connecting to God prayerfully and hopefully to bring comfort and joy to God's heart. Because this is a day of liberation and victory for God, all these holy days. The world has been transformed because of the foundation of these holy days. And so let's honor it and bring joy to God through these days. Here's from Chambumogyang. If you haven't seen this, the third of the books that True Mother had published, it's quite amazing. We're reading it now for Hunda K, and it focuses on it's True Parents' words about their life, and so you hear them talking about their experiences with we're reading about the first world tour, where True Parents were traveling all around the world in the 1960s. And Father's reflections on what it was like and what it felt like. And there's one chapter that's basically letters that True Father wrote to True Mother. I'm in San Francisco now. I'm missing you. I'm thinking about this country. And it's just really powerful stuff. There's a whole section where it just goes through each year and the motto for the year. And True Parents talking about what does that motto mean to me. Anyway, I encourage you, if you don't have a copy of the Chambumogyang, that you get one. It's really a precious treasure to read and to study. But I want to read this from the section where our Father's talking about Children's Day. He says, "You especially need to commemorate this day, starting with your own family environment. You have to arrange it so that your children will eagerly await the coming of this day. The children in the world at large await holidays, saying, 'When's that day coming when we can wear precious new clothes and eat delicious food?' Right? How about Halloween? People look forward to it. Birthdays, Christmas, right? The people of the world really look forward to those days. We should have that same feeling for holy days." He continues, "Similarly, you need to make preparations so that your children naturally will be eagerly await the coming of Children's Day, even counting the days off on their fingers and rejoicing when the day is near." This is the tradition that we want to set up in our families, especially if we're hoping that the next generation will also value the amazing significance of these holy days for their children and the generations in the future. One thing that's quite phenomenal is that we live at the time when these holy days were originally established. We were alive when True Parents were on the earth. This is part of the inheritance that we have that we can pass on to others. So, True Children's Day, we're going to have a party today. We'll have an offering table and celebration. The official day is tomorrow. But so I encourage you to do something special, even a small offering table, just a couple of fruits, and have a pledge service and for your family, and make it a tradition. On Wednesday, the holy day that Dr. Balcom, he called it the Kei Chunjol, is the day we know is the foundation day for the unified nation of heaven and earth. And as he said, it was established in 1988, just after the Seoul Summer Olympics. And that was kind of an amazing time. Actually, 1988, the world was pretty scary. We were in the midst of the Cold War, the Soviet Union, which no longer exists, right? But the Soviet Union, the United States. Actually, around the Olympics in 1980, because the Soviet Union had invaded Afghanistan, the United States boycotted the Olympics. The Olympics were held in Moscow. Well, in 1984, the Soviet Union boycotted the American Olympics because they were held in Los Angeles. In 1988, amazingly, the Olympics were held in Korea, in Seoul, Korea. And so that was the coming together of East and West. There's amazing stories about all the things that happened during those Olympics and how happy True Parents were at that time, especially even to be able to greet the North Korean delegation and those from the communist countries. But all of this was the basis and the foundation for now what we're calling, for Foundation Day, for the Heavenly Kingdom. True Parents' vision for a unified nation of heaven and earth, in the physical world and in the spiritual world. So I just want to share briefly, after the proclamation, True Father's deep prayer. And here's just like a short excerpt from the prayer that True Father prayed. Beloved Heavenly Father, The flow of history has been one of intense grief, and the history of your providence has been one of despair. However, because you are of love, Father, you have persevered to this day to reestablish the standard of the original ideal of creation through the history of recreation. Even when your heart marked with love was torn in 10,000 pieces, we cannot but be grateful for the fact that such a great God is there. So either together through Children's Day and Day of the Foundation Day for the Unified Nation of Heaven and Earth, you can celebrate them together tomorrow, or on Monday and Wednesday you can celebrate them. But remember to reflect on, what do these holy days mean to God? What did it mean to God, these amazing events in human history, in all of human history? So, today, as also you saw from Dr. Balcom, we're going to celebrate and do our ceremony for the 100-day devotion period, which begins November 1st, which is Tuesday. November 1st will be 100 days until the next Foundation Day. And that Foundation Day will be halfway to the accomplishment of 2020, halfway to 2020. Now, we do lots of conditions. When there's a prayer condition, there's on the list, pray for the success of Vision 2020. Sometimes I don't remember what the Vision for 2020 is. Oh yeah? Okay. Heavenly Parent, I pray for the success of the Vision 2020. But sometimes, maybe I'm the only one here. I'm probably embarrassed. I shouldn't say that. But, I don't know. It's like, okay, I'm praying for it. Whatever it is, I hope it happens, and I know it's going to be something good. But what God's hope is that, and True Parents calling us to do, is to set forth a vision and a goal that we're moving towards. Without a vision, the world perishes, right? We have to have a vision to move forward. So, True Mother and Headquarters came up with this commitment, and that you saw in the video in the last couple of weeks. The Korean and Japanese leaders all came to Chungpyeong, and they had a big conference, and basically it was this kind of preparation for this last 100 days, so that we can really kick off and remind ourselves of our vision and redetermine ourselves to the reason that we're here. I know you come on Sunday mornings because you're looking forward to hearing the band perform, right? And if it's not the band, the young people singing, and performing, or maybe it's for the sermon, but or it's for the food. Maybe you're just coming for the food. But the truth is, we're here. We're even committed to this lifestyle because we have a vision of a changed world. We have a vision of a world that's going to be better than the one we're living in, that we're going to pass on for the future generations. This is the hope, and this is why we're here. This is why we participate. So the whole purpose of this devotion period is True Parents calling us to, in this next 100 days, let's realign ourselves. Let's make conditions and offerings. Determine ourselves to be people who are making a difference in the world. Here's the key point. For this 100 days, as we lead up to this next Foundation Day, is to establish this eternal tradition of faith. Absolute love, absolute obedience, absolute faith, centered on our true parents. To complete the heavenly calling of national restoration, true parents the vision is to accomplish 7 nations who can be called Chonoguk Nation. To firmly establish that. That's the national restoration vision. To establish the foundation for world salvation through supporting and committing to those 2020 key strategic nations. There's 13 nations and goals, and we're one of them, right? So we need to focus even our responsibilities here. To make the foundation for firmly establishing Chonoguk, the heavenly kingdom, through our special activities, our offerings, and our commitments. especially during this second half of the course to accomplish the vision. And finally, to establish a tradition of the culture of heart, centering on Hyojan, the heart of filial piety. So, here is the Vision 2020, the motto that from 2014 to 2020. This is the motto that we recite at the end of every service, right? And this is the big commitment and that we're working towards, right? Let's all read this together, right? Let us become true owners of Chonoguk, who practice true love in resemblance to our Creator, the Heavenly Parent, right? As owners of the Heavenly Kingdom. And this is something that I think in our hearts we know this is what we want. We want to become people who practice true love, and especially that we can reflect God, our Heavenly Parent. So I was looking and I asked Pastor Thompson and I searching around. So what is the goal? When we say the vision for 2020, what is the goal? Well, you can boil it down to that 7 nations are restored as Chonoguk nations. You know, that they've restored the original ideal of the nation, the hope that God has for a nation. Now, that's a measurable goal. Okay, there's 7 out there.
In 3 years?
No, we had 6 years, so we have 3 more years.
So in 3 years we're supposed to restore 7 nations.
That's right. So time to get to work, right? Good reason why we should start a determination. Now, the question is, what does it mean to restore a nation to the original ideal? It doesn't mean that we convert everybody and everybody joins our church. It doesn't mean that Unificationism becomes the religion, the national religion. That's not the Heavenly Kingdom. What it is that it's a nation where people are governed in peace and in happiness with true love and God's vision at the center of that. That's what we're working towards. And so at a national level, to uphold the kind of ideals of God's Heavenly Kingdom. Now, we may or may not accomplish that. But if we are not working toward it, then we'll never get there. So you aim high. We have a high goal. But if we look at that and say, oh, I'll never make it, so I'm not even going to try. But instead, say, okay, that's the goal. Let me see how close I can get to that goal in this time. Now, in particular, our focus is here in America. I mean, we can focus around the world, and we want to contribute, and we want to be participants in making that change throughout the world. But in America, we also have a mission statement, right? You've seen this. I send out, in banner and emails, to guide America back to God through the teachings and marriage blessing of true parents, right? Okay, let's all read that together. Okay, to guide America back to God through the teachings and marriage blessing of true parents. Kind of the bottom line, right? Through sharing God's true parents' teachings and sharing the marriage blessing. From talking with Pastor Thompson, and when he's come here on Wednesday nights and shared some of the vision from headquarters, here are the 4 key points of the vision that we want to aim towards. This is the future that we see for our movement and the world in the future. Number 1 is that we are happy, healthy, God-centered families. That's our commitment. That's our vision. This is what we want to see in the future. That our community, our church, is growing in membership, in influence, and in assets, resources, finances, and material foundation. That the younger generation are active and leading us forward into the future. And that the American movement, especially as an elder son nation, is generously supporting the rest of the world. For many years we were the recipients. Now we want to be the people who are giving back and supporting the rest of the world. Now, how's that for a vision? Do you like that? Is that any stuff you don't like out there? Say, I don't know about growing in membership. We might get some strange people. I don't know about influencing people. We might get some stranger people. Don't point to anyone. So. And how about the young people? Oh man, I don't know about those young people leading our way. It's kind of scary, right? Actually, it is scary, but it's kind of exciting too. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Oh, I don't want to support the rest of the world. Nah, let's just keep it to ourselves, right? No, I don't think any of us have that thought or that heart. This is the hope and the vision that we have. And this is our optimistic vision for the future. These kinds of vision we need to keep bringing in front of ourselves. This needs to be our commitment for the future. This is what we want to see. Now, we don't see it. I don't see it right now. And I don't know how soon it'll happen. But if I don't have a vision, we'll just die. We'll just continue focusing on survival, which is what I easily fall into. I don't know about you, but it's easy just to get by. I just want to survive and make it through the next day, one day at a time. But with a vision, then we say, okay, today what did I do that contributed to these happening? What did I do to make the world a better place? Every day I can do something, even if it's just making spiritual conditions and prayer and reflection, working on our family, working on membership, working on supporting our raising up our young people, and especially that we contribute to the worldwide providence, prayerfully, spiritually, materially, however we can and are able to. So here's the specific goal, something measurable, to bless 1 million Americans, to increase the congregational actual membership to 30,000 in America, to increase associate members to 100,000. That means the Universal Peace Federation, the Women's Federation for World Peace, and the clergy, American Clergy Leadership Conference. That half of our leadership is under the age of 40. Time for me to retire, right? That we have new churches in the top 12 cities, and that America is contributing over $10 million to the rest of the world, to the world missions. Good goals. Practical, challenging, but clear things. I would love to see these things happen. Right? So, in reflecting on this overwhelming task, it's like, oh man, 3 years to establish a Chilaguk nation? What are you talking about? It's like, just forget it. No, at least we need to be moving in that direction, right? So here's from this. I'm taking this from a presentation done in Korea to the leadership conference. There's 4 fundamentals to restoring a nation. The first one is just true parents' word. We need to get the truth of the divine principle and true parents' words out to the world. We just need to communicate. And where's the starting place for that? Us. We need to study ourselves. This is why we have the tradition of Hundake, filling our own minds with true parents' words, with this understanding of God's providence. This is the first foundation, and everything else comes on this, true parents' words. On that foundation, then to build godly families and sharing true parents' words. That means witnessing, right? 3 spiritual children. That means sharing the blessing that we have and sharing our understanding of the true parents' words. And applying that, number 1, to myself. Number 2, in my family. Right? And then in my community and the world around us. And then thirdly is that we work to create an environment. That's the projects and activities to create a heavenly culture. True Mother has lots of investment in how do we create a culture of heart through the arts and media and this restarting up the science conference. How do we create a culture that creates a godly environment, a heavenly environment? These are the projects and activities that we do. And then finally, we need to prepare for the future, which means we need to raise up those future talent. That's why we have the band up here. That's why we have so much hope. Because the future. So even in our families, we want to nourish and encourage and nurture the talent of our young people. They are the future. Like it or not, they are our future. So, knowing true parents' words, sharing true parents' words, practicing true parents' words, and nurturing and raising up the future generations. This is the keys to that's where we start. That's our starting place, right? Now, I haven't necessarily transformed the world yet, but by starting with these, I am in the process. I'm making the conditions to move us forward. True Mother also spoke about, okay, what is our responsibility in the era of Chonoguk? This is actually from the Chonsung Jung, but it's words that True Mother spoke in 2012. And she made 4 key points. Number 1 is that we have to value and pass on true parents' tradition of love and heart. That's the core of who we are. This is why we celebrate these holy days. You know, the celebration of true parents' tradition of love and heart, living for the benefit of others. Second, we need to fulfill the ideal that God has for us as blessed families. That's starting at home, right? Working to realizing all the potential that's there for blessed families. Third, that we spread that blessing and we live our lives as tribal messiahs who contribute and make a difference to the larger community, the people around us. And then finally, that we create a community based on the culture of heart. This is our calling, the practical aspects for our life, to value and pass on true parents' tradition, especially centered on heart and God's true love. We fulfill as blessed families and we multiply as tribal messiahs and create that culture, that heavenly culture that God finds joy in. So let me read from True Mother's words. I want to close with this. These are words that True Mother spoke at the conference for the Korean and Japanese leaders, the Chonoguk leaders kickoff meeting. This was a ceremony for establishing the harmony and unity in order to fulfill the Vision 2020. Again, we saw the video many times, and this is our own local kickoff. This is us kicking it off today and determining ourselves. So, True Mother says, the true parents who emerged on earth should have begun from the national level. Unfortunately, the nations who had that responsibility failed to accomplish it. As a result, true parents had to rise up from the very bottom. They were then able to liberate God and open the doors of Chonoguk in 2013. That's Foundation Day. And then at the conclusion of her talk, she says, don't we have to realize God's dream, true parents' dream, and humanity's hope? We're the ones. Without having to say anything more, my dream is yours. Isn't that so? Please advance with the determination to absolutely achieve this will with True Mother until your last breath. This is what God is desperately hoping for. God needs us. God is counting on us. However, capable we are or aren't, we are who God has. And through us, God can work amazing things if we can connect to the vision and commit to living a life of action. So, to accomplish and build the heavenly kingdom, we need to know true parents' words. We need to practice true parents' words. We need to share true parents' words, and we need to nurture the next generation, the future. So, this vision, what I want to do for our ceremony is, and just make our declaration, is together we want to affirm that we're a happy, healthy, God-centered family, that we're growing in membership, influence, and assets, that the younger generation are active and leading, and we are generously supporting the world missions as the elder son nation. So, if I can get you all, just everyone stand up, let's agree and affirm this vision. This is a vision of hope and dream for the future. So let's all stand up. Wake up. Okay, good. Get a chance to stretch out your legs a little bit. Okay, so let's read this together and offer this as affirming. What we're doing is we're affirming our hope and commitment to breaking through wherever we've been stuck and holding these visions as our ideals in front of us. Okay, number 1. We are happy, healthy, God-centered families. 2. We are growing in membership, influence, and assets. 3. The younger generations are active and leading. 4. we generously support world missions as the elder son nation. Aju. Okay. Hook. Munse. Again. Hook. Munse. Hook. Munse. Okay. Please join me in prayer. Father, Mother God, our loving Heavenly Parent, we thank you so much for the trust that you have in us, the investment that you've made in each one of our lives, that we could inherit and receive the blessing from our true parents, that we could receive and understand the divine principle and be active participants in your providence of restoration. Heavenly Parent, the goal and the vision is so far out in front of us, and sometimes we get discouraged with such large vision and goal. But we know that if we hold this vision in our heart, no matter how far it is, we will move toward that goal. This is our commitment. This is our purpose to you today. So, Heavenly Parent, as your sons and daughters, and as blessed central families, we offer ourselves to you and redetermine ourselves to be people who participate in creating that world of your true love. So, sons and daughters, and as blessed central families, we offer this prayer and this commitment. Amen and Aju. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.